Good morning, I'm Sue Spargo, and today we're going to do a little bit of hand piecing. Um, well, I'm not the hand piecing queen, that's for sure. It's Jane Kingwell, and she's a very good friend of mine, and she taught me everything I know. For a lot of my pieces, I like to use lots of different techniques, and hand piecing is one that I teach in my classes. So we're going to make either a little flower or a little circle this morning using this little template. So first of all, we're going to use a sandboard and use the little template with a 2B pencil. So you want to use a pencil that's soft, and you're going to draw around the template. So using the sandpaper board will keep things nice and sturdy, and at the same time, sorry, before you pull it off, you're going to make a little dot through at each of these holes, which is your seam allowance. And I'll turn this round and we will draw a second one here like this, and do a little dot, and then we're going to join the dots. For the little circle we're going to make, it's really not necessary to mark this seam allowance on the curve, and I'll explain that in a little while. So I'm going to just draw the lines right to the edge of the template like that. Okay, then you would cut them out on the line, which I've done right here, and this little circle makes one like this with 8 little petals, and so I always lay it out in front of me to make sure that I pick up the right one, because it's very easy to pick up, especially when I'm making it in 2 halves, to pick up the wrong one and then you don't have the right sequence. So I'm going to take these two and I'm going to place them right sides together. So we've drawn on the wrong side of our fabric, and we're going to line them up, and I'm using the little house very fine pins, which I love for cotton, and I'm going to join my dots like that and join the other little dot, which is the point here, which is very important up there, so they both match like this. So because I'm sewing these in 2 halves, 4 and 4, I'm going to start at the bottom here. So with my thread I can sew down and down like this, and then I'll have to break my thread and do the second seam up that way. So I'm going to start at the wider point here. So I'm using nice sharp applique needle and cotton thread, and I'm going to start right at the base here and do a little stitch, and then do another little stitch, and now I'm going to do what you call a tailor's knot. So you take this thread and go the opposite way around your needle, then the 2 in the eye go the other way, and you pull that through, and that'll give you a really nice little knot right there for your, there we go. So it's a little knot that's really tight. And now we're going to do a little running stitch. So you're doing a little running stitch, so you can load your needle with a few little stitches, pull it all the way through, then do a little back stitch each time you put it through like this, and load your needle again and do a little back stitch and come up to the top. Up here you want to make sure that you're going right in the pencil dot right here. So I'm going to do another little anchor stitch, so just do another little tailor's knot, and that'll keep that nice and tight there at the top. So I'm going to pick up my next piece now, and this one is going to go here. So again, I'm going to pin this. So I'm going to make sure that I pin in this dot here and back in this dot on this side. And then I'm going to pin down over here. So once you get to the top here, I'm going to do a little stitch right through the dot, like this. And I always like to do just a little extra stitch here, just to make sure that it's anchored nicely right at the point where they come together. And then you'll go down, do a little back stitch, keep going. Okay. And so now you can see we have to end the thread, and we will pick up, when we pick up the next one, we'll start a new thread. So again, I'm going to do a little tailor's knot and pull that through right here and cut the thread. So you can see we have three on here with our point right up here. So what I did here is I've sewn both halves together. So we need to then sew these two halves together. So we want to try and get all our points coming together as best we can in the center. So we're going to pin this side. So again, I'm going to match the point. And then pull all the seams to the left and find the 2 points right in here. So there's my dot, and then on the other side I want the dot on the other side here. Oops. There we go. So I'm going to sew up to that center point. I'll do that quickly so I can show you how to do the center. Do a little tailor's knot. Okay, so now I have all the seams going to the left, and I'm going to go from the front through the dot to the other side. Then I'm going to pull the first seam on the top to the right, And then I'm going to go through that dot and back through the dot on this side. Then I'm going to push this one, the back to the right, and come back through. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just anchoring the center, but it's important to be going through the dot every time so that you can try and get a nice point. This one to the right and back through here and back through here, and this one. So you just keep turning, pulling the seams to the right until they're all on the right hand side. This one. And then back on this side. And then you can pin it, or if you feel comfortable with a 1/4 inch, you can just start sewing until you get to the bottom. Just put the iron on. So I find hand piecing is very relaxing, and it's also fun because we do a lot of handwork in my classes and in my my quilts. So it just adds another technique. Finish there with a knot. Another technique to be able to do by hand. Okay, so there it is. So not too bad a center there, but one little trick is you can always put a little wool circle on the center if you don't quite get them all together. So I'm going to press this now, and what you want to do is press all these seam allowances in the same direction. So we'll start here and we'll just do them, and what will happen is it'll just sort of twist in the center and actually lie pretty flat, which is sort of surprising. There we go. Little circle. So the next thing is, the reason we didn't mark over here is that I'm going to use a perfect circle to make the circle, so there's no need to mark it. And so you're going to find a perfect circle that's a little bit smaller, or 1/4 inch smaller, and you will do a little running stitch around this, draw it up, and then iron it with the perfect circle. So that I have done a tutorial on perfect circles, so you can also look at that if you haven't done that before. But one little tip, I use a double strand of thread just because of all the bulk. And when I'm doing the running stitch, I'll just show you, I'm doing a running stitch like this and missing the seam allowance and coming around like this. So I'm actually not stitching through the seam allowance when I do my little running stitch around, so that it's easier to pull it up. So you could use a double strand of cotton or a quilter's thread that's a little bit thicker, and then you're going to draw it up around this and you'll have a nice circle. So I use them for layering on my backgrounds. I use them for flowers. I have a couple of examples here I can show you where I've used them for flowers here. And at the same time, I've done a little perfect circle for the center. Yes, you can fussy cut them, so you can see here how you can fussy cut the fabrics as well to make a nice little flower. So I hope you have fun with that. Nice little template. The template is available on my website. It's whatever your creativity and imagination can do. So have fun.